For over 1,000 years, one name echoed across the known world, a symbol of absolute power, unparalleled engineering, and unyielding law: Rome. From the misty shores of Britain to the sun-scorched sands of Egypt, from the rugged mountains of Spain to the ancient lands of the Middle East, the Roman eagle cast its shadow. The city of Rome itself was the heart of this colossal empire, a bustling metropolis of marble and might, the center of civilization. But as the old saying goes, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. How did this titan of history, this seemingly eternal empire, crumble into dust? Let's journey back to the 4th and 5th centuries A.D. The Roman Empire, once a picture of strength and stability, was showing deep, festering cracks. Imagine a magnificent building whose foundations are slowly rotting away. That was Rome. The rot began from within. Corruption was rampant. Officials, once dedicated public servants, now lined their own pockets, buying and selling power. The gap between the ultra-wealthy elite and the impoverished masses grew into a chasm. The economy, once a powerhouse fueled by conquest and trade, began to sputter. Inflation soared, making the currency almost worthless. Taxes became crushingly high to pay for a bloated government and a massive army, yet the money seemed to vanish into a black hole of graft and inefficiency. The rich dodged taxes, leaving the burden on the working class and farmers, many of whom abandoned their land, leading to food shortages. While Rome was sick on the inside, enemies were gathering at its gates. For centuries, the Roman legions had been the most formidable fighting force on the planet, an unstoppable machine of discipline and steel. But now, the machine was breaking down. The empire was simply too vast to defend. Endless wars on multiple fronts stretched its military resources thin. The army, once composed of loyal Roman citizens fighting for their homeland, was increasingly filled with mercenaries from so-called barbarian tribes. These soldiers were loyal to their paymasters and their generals, not to the idea of Rome itself. This led to a constant cycle of civil wars, as ambitious generals turned their armies on each other, marching on Rome to claim the throne for themselves. Between 235 and 284 A.D., an era known as the Crisis of the 3rd Century, there were more than 20 emperors, most of whom were assassinated. The empire was tearing itself apart. Pressing on the borders were formidable groups the Romans dismissively called barbarians. But these were not disorganized savages. They were sophisticated peoples with their own cultures and military prowess. Tribes like the Goths, the Vandals, and the fearsome Huns sweeping in from the east. Driven by climate change, internal conflicts, and the lure of Roman wealth, they began to push relentlessly against the frontiers. Sometimes they came as raiders, sometimes as entire nations seeking new homes. The Romans tried everything, fighting them, paying them off, even allowing them to settle within the empire's borders as allies. But this was like trying to patch a leaking dam with paper. The pressure was too great. Then came the moment that sent a shockwave through the entire Roman world. The year is 410 A.D. For 800 years, the city of Rome had been considered inviolable, a sacred space untouched by foreign invaders. But Alaric, king of the Visigoths, accomplished the unthinkable. Leading his army through the gates, he sacked the eternal city. For 3 days, his men plundered its treasures. While the physical damage wasn't catastrophic, the psychological blow was devastating. If Rome itself could fall, what was safe? It was a sign that the end was near. The aura of invincibility that had protected the empire for so long was shattered forever. The final act came a few decades later. The Western Roman Empire was by this point a shadow of its former self, a hollowed-out shell. Its territories had been lost, its economy was in ruins, and the real power was held not by the emperor, but by powerful barbarian generals who controlled the military. In 476 A.D., a Germanic chieftain named Odoacer led a revolt against the last Roman emperor in the West. This emperor was a young boy, ironically named Romulus Augustulus, combining the names of Rome's mythical founder and its first emperor. Odoacer deposed the boy emperor and, instead of proclaiming himself the new emperor, declared himself king of Italy. He sent the imperial insignia, the symbols of power, to the emperor in the east, in Constantinople, effectively saying, "The job of Western Roman emperor is now closed." This date, 476 AD, is the year historians traditionally mark as the official fall of the Western Roman Empire. But did Rome truly die? The city fell, the empire collapsed, but the idea of Rome, that was immortal. The fall of the Western Roman Empire wasn't an event that happened on a single day. It was a long, slow transformation, and what emerged from the ashes was shaped profoundly by what had come before. Think about it. The languages we speak today in much of Europe, Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, are called Romance languages for a reason. They evolved directly from the Latin spoken by the Romans. The legal systems of countless modern nations are built upon the foundations of Roman law, with its principles of justice and evidence. Look at the grand buildings in Washington, D.C., Paris, or London, with their columns, arches, and domes. That's Roman architectural DNA, still influencing us thousands of years later. The very roads that crisscross Europe often follow the paths laid down by Roman engineers. Even the Catholic Church, which rose to prominence as the empire declined, adopted Rome's administrative structure and made Latin its official language. The dream of a unified, peaceful, and orderly Europe, a modern version of the Pax Romana, has inspired leaders from Charlemagne to Napoleon to the founders of the European Union. The fall of Rome is a powerful cautionary tale. It teaches us that no power, no matter how great, is permanent. It shows how internal decay, corruption, social inequality, and political instability can be far more destructive than any external enemy. It reminds us that even the mightiest empires can crumble when they lose the trust of their people and the ability to adapt to a changing world. But it also offers a message of hope. It shows that even when great structures collapse, their best ideas, their innovations, and their cultural legacy can endure, shaping the future in ways we might not even realize. The body of the Roman Empire may be long gone, but its ghost, its legacy, lives on all around us. The story of Rome never truly ended. It simply transformed into the story of the world we live in today. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through one of history's most epic stories. If you found this fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the past. Let me know in the comments what historical event you'd like to explore next. Until then, stay curious.